This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Hall of Fame boxing promoter Frank Warren here in Saudi Arabia. Frank, it's undisputed fight week. We've arrived. How does it feel to finally be here?
It's brilliant, Andy. I mean, it's exciting. It's a countdown now till Saturday. We've got the biggest fight of the 21st century on. Two undefeated heavyweights in there. Both got perfect records. And someone's going to walk away or carry those belts home to their respective country.
How do your emotions change as this week progresses ever closer towards Saturday night?
I just get more and more excited about the event, drawing closer. I just can't wait to see the fight. It's something I've been really, wanting to see for Tyson more than anything, because I want him to establish that he is the best heavyweight of his generation. Let everybody see that, because there are people who think that Usyk will beat him.
Tyson's always maintained he doesn't care for the titles, he doesn't care for that status. But do you think after Saturday, especially if he's victorious, it means something more to him than what he's let on?
I don't think so. I think in years to come it will. He looks on it as another fight, but he does, as we was talking in one of the interviews earlier on, he did say, I'm fighting the best fighter I've ever fought against. That's what I'm up against now.
Do you agree with that sentiment? Do you agree Oleksandr Usyk is the best he's fought so far?
Well, look, you've got to look at his record. Olympic, the best at the Olympics, the best cruiserweight probably of his generation, and he's been a heavyweight for 4.5 years, and in those 4.5 years he's beaten a heavyweight that a lot of people believe was the best heavyweight there in AJ, not once but twice, and undefeated and comfortable at heavyweight, and he's a very confident guy. They genuinely believe him and his team that they're going to win this fight. So absolutely, I think he's the best fighter he's fought, and I want everybody after the fight, Tyson win this, to understand that. What Tyson did, he's not shied away from this. This is a fight that's happened very quickly as far as a unification fight's concerned. Go back over the years and look at fights that never happened or took 10 years to happen, like Lennox Lewis against Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes against, Mike Tyson against Larry Holmes. All the different fights over the years, how long they took to get together. This fight's happened very quickly. And, for the heavyweights, it's the blue ribbon division. I think we're going to get something extra special on the night.
Frank, I've probably asked about 100, if not more, people about this fight within the boxing industry, and a common theme, whether it be on camera or off camera, that people say it's a close fight, but the one thing which kind of separates them in their mind is that age-old saying of a good big man beats a good little man. Do you think it's as easy to differentiate the pair, or do you think that takes away, if it was to be coming down to that, it takes away from Tyson's ability?
Well, I look at the good little man of the past, Evander Holyfield. How would he be in this generation and previous generation? Great fighter, one of the best out there at all the weights he fought at. David Haye came up and beat a big guy. So that's not like something that's never happened before. I just think that Tyson is the best of his generation. I think what people forget about, or some people forget about with Tyson, how adaptable he is, how he can change his style. You look at the Tyson Fury that beat Klitschko to the Tyson Fury that beat Wilder 3 times, and his mandatory defence against White, and everybody thought White was going to give him all sorts of problems. He's changed his style. He's gone from a defensive fighter to a full-on attacking fighter. And I think that's what he's going to do on Saturday. I can see him coming out and dominating this fight from the first bell.
Leads in beautifully to my next question. You mentioned the evolvement of Tyson's style, certainly in the earlier years up until, as you mentioned, Wilder to the very least. We saw him a bit more fleet-footed, shall we say, used his boxing attributes a lot more when he became a bit more dominant, aggressive, produced some stunning displays along the way. Do you think he might miss that at all, as not just past Usyk, but in fights to come, being a bit more fleet-footed, or do you think now he's evolved to this way of fighting, it's the best route forward for him?
Well, he's very athletic, for a guy. He's very misleading. You look at him; he's not carved out of marble. He's not a AJ or a Frank Bruno. He's a big man. He's 6'8", 6'9", but he's a very athletic guy. He's got a tremendous engine. Real good stamina, more stamina than all those two guys put together. He's very adaptable. He's got a fantastic boxing brain. He's a switch hitter, defensive, on the attack, and he can punch. And he's got a good chin because when he goes over, he gets up off the floor. He's a bit of a phenomenon in some ways as when you look at him and what gets into the ring. And look at him today at this press thing. He's like jumping out of his skin. He looks so well. I mean, he looks the fittest I've ever seen him since I've been involved with him. His face looks so good. You know, he looks in the best shape of his career, which he'll have to be because he's fighting a guy who's going to be in the best shape of his career. So I'm looking forward to the fight, and I'm looking forward to Tyson getting out there and showing the world what he's all about.
How does Tyson defeat Oleksandr Usyk in your opinion, Frank? Is it a case of just outboxing him, or do you think, as you said, he'll be aggressive? And do you think that stoppage is there for him on Saturday night?
I think Tyson has got to be the dominant fighter in the ring. I think he's got to take control of the ring, and he's got to take centre of the ring, get behind his jab, let his shots go, and keep him on the back foot. Keep Usyk on the back foot, and I think he can stop him midway. You
mentioned how well Tyson looks. I can echo those calls in the interview with him. He did look in very good shape. He's very up for it as well. Do you look at this fight with Tyson, given his shape, his condition, how key of a factor do you think that could be if he is to produce the best that we've seen?
Sorry, I didn't.
How key of a factor will his conditioning be on Saturday night?
Well, he's always got good conditioning. I mean, he just doesn't, sometimes look, but he actually looks in tremendous shape. You look at him, he's solid. He looks in, and he feels in good shape. And with Tyson, a lot of it is mental as well. Mentally, he's very strong as a fighter, very strong. And I've never seen him looking so confident as for any fight. They might be quite wrong, because I feel he felt that confident as when he fought Wilder the first time. He had that confidence.
One thing people talk about when you look at Oleksandr, the body. Do you think that's something Tyson's going to look to target?
Tyson will exploit every weakness that he can. And I'm sure he'll be looking at. We've got to make sure the referee, Mark Nelson's in there. I want to get complete definition before the fight of where the low blows are. I don't want that bullshit like that referee screwed up against Daniel. I mean, no pre-fight. Pre-fight, he didn't do it right. He didn't do it correctly. We're going to have none of that. I'm going to go to the rules meeting myself, and I want to make sure that he don't start complaining like he does Usyk, which he's done in the past on many occasions when he's been called to the body, to try and get the referee to sort of take it away from the guy. And I get that, it's gained some shit, but I just feel that, I'm hoping that it will be what I expect to be, which is a real classic heavyweight fight to stand up to what it is, the biggest fight of the century.
Tyson's eye seemed to, again, looking to him, seems to heal up quite well. Any concerns on that front?
Of course there's concerns, but, as he's got his body, Usyk, you talked about his body, he'll be looking at the eye. Everybody's going to be looking for the edge. They're going to be looking for that chink in the armour. What's the weak spot? Where's the Achilles heel? That is what boxing's about. But the biggest exploiter of that is Tyson. He finds somebody's weakness, he exploits it.
You mentioned the word phenomenon earlier with Tyson. A young phenomenon of yours, Moses Itauma, has been sparring with him. He's on this undercard. Excited to see him return. And how happy does it make you to see the older generation in Fury sharing the ring, sharing some experience with Mr. Moses Itauma?
Well, that's great for Moses. My son Francis, his manager, he organised him for some sparring, as you said. And it's all about the process of learning. Like all these guys, all the best fighters work with the best fighters as young men. They've all done it. Larry Holmes worked with Muhammad Ali, and what a fighter he was. And you can go through the generations and generations. Moses is still a teenager. I think he's only been 19, 4 months ago, whatever it is. He's still a teenager. He's still not a man yet. He's not got his man strength. And look what he's done. He's a bit of a natural phenomenon. And I genuinely feel he could be the future of the heavyweight division. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the ring. And, I want everybody to watch him, because he could be, and I believe he will be, the future of heavyweight boxing once Tyson decides he's going to hang up his gloves.
Take it LL Shake's favourite, Mark Chamberlain, returns as well.
Yeah, he's in a good fight. He's got a tough fight. He's done a brilliant job last time out. He does the same thing again. We hopefully look towards the end of the year, a massive fight between him and Sam Noakes.
Just a couple of things to wrap this up, Frank. Just going back to Tyson, spoke to him, and he's dismissed any chance of a potential Anthony Joshua fight taking place next if he's successful on Saturday night. Do you agree? Do you think it is the rematch in October? Tyson said to me.
I just feel there's so much money at stake that the loser will call for that rematch, and the step-aside money would have to be very big to make it change. And look, do you know what? If it is what it is, and then that's what we had to do to get the fight on. We had to agree that to get the fight on, so it's on. And then AJ keeps winning. Then we got I think he's fighting in September, I hope. Then he keeps winning. Then February, the winner, they'll be fighting him. And it'll be his chance to see if he can get himself back to the top again. He's done brilliant. He's had 2 good comeback wins. Let's see where he goes now.
Frank, still waiting for news as to who you're going to have on the August 3rd card. Can you let me in on that yet?
On the
August 3rd, Crawford Madrimov undercard?
No, not yet. We're not. We're going to talk about that this week.
Had to try and squeeze that one. Also, just taking past this past weekend, Denzel Bentley returning in stunning fashion.
Oh, bloody! I mean, that was a great performance against a good fighter. I mean, stunning. Really boxed well. Good shots. You know, that punch that he just under his heart that he caught Danny with. That was a bit of a shot, and I think that took obviously took the wind out of him. And that last knockdown was a bit of a punch. He's got himself back in there again. And I know there's some good fights to be made there. Who knows? We may do a rematch with Nathan, but there's lots of good fights to be made. And we don't give up on guys. Said that time and time again. We don't give up on them. We believe in someone, and somebody believes in us. They're with us, and we work with them.
Ryan Garner continues to impress.
Look, he boxed extremely, extremely well. You just look back, and I hate to say it because looking back means nothing, but where could he have been if he'd have knuckled down a little bit? And now he's showing what he's capable of. Great boxer, great fighter, lovely moves, and in with a real tough opponent who got the best out of him and was there at the end. Fabulous fight.
Wilder-Zhang, just want to quickly get your thoughts on that, Frank. Will that become the headline bout on the 5 versus 5 card now? Because better be if Bivol's not happening, or
no? Bivol's fighting.
So the replacement opponent will now become main event.
5v5 is a separate entity. But we all listen. That's what everybody's talking about. 5v5. We all want to see it, and it's going to be interesting. And I'm really looking for it. It's only a couple of weeks away. I mean, this is unbelievable what's happening here. This is the world capital of boxing now.
What happens in Wilder-Zhang?
Zhang, Big Bang Zhang, do the business. It's got to do the business. Both of them, they're at a crossroads. That's what's so good about that fight. They both know they've got to win. They both got to bring their best. They've got to bring their A game. Nothing less than that, because whoever loses, he's dropped right down out the pecking order.
Frank, final one, because I know you're a busy man today and plenty of media to speak to. We know how dangerous of a sport boxing can be. Unfortunately, last night, Sherif Lawal passed away after being stopped in his bout in Harrow. Just your thoughts and your condolences towards the family of Mr. Lawal.
Look, it's a dreadful tragedy, and it's a rare tragedy in our sport. And everybody in boxing, our hearts and our thoughts go out to his family, and we just hope that they hope in this hour of need that they get some sort of comfort, hopefully from some of the happy memories they have of him. And it's it's dreadful. You can't even imagine it. And I just feel for them, and our thoughts are with them. And I hope that they get some peace and solitude over time to soften the loss, if that is possible. I mean, it's just dreadful. It's too dreadful for words.
Frank, everybody obviously at Boxing News echoes those words, but I will leave you now to go and get busy. Thank you for speaking to me, and I'll see you as the week progresses.
Thanks, Andy.